Hey y'all, Matt Hepworth here with Studio New and UAD Forums, and today we're going to decide if you really need a Cloudlifter for your Apollo. Stay tuned. So here's the Cloudlifter. A lot of people consider this to be a critical device for using any sort of low output microphone with any interface, because you have various levels of noise, especially at the higher gain on an interface. And this is essentially the opposite of a pad. It is a active, powered by phantom power, 25 dB boost. Not exactly 25 because impedance becomes a factor. Anyway, I've never used this before because to me, it never made much sense with Apollo and things like that, because you have other options for totally clean digital gain rather than adding another analog device into the chain and paying another $150. I'm going to go ahead and open this and let's see what we've got. In theory, it's packed better than I can deal with. Okay, so packing stuff out of the way, and there we have a Cloudlifter. Pretty simple device, XLR on both sides, phantom powered. Anyway, Cloudlifter. So I'm going to connect this up to my setup, which is a custom splitter. It splits 3 ways. I use it for shootouts. And that splitter, we're going to run 1 into Apollo as the control. Number 2 is going to go into the Cloudlifter to figure out what we have. And number 3, we're going to use another Apollo channel, and we're going to use some form of digital gain. We'll see how it works. So let's switch over to console and get everything set up there. So here we are at console, and you can see that the splitter is doing its job. Number 1 and number 3, both running straight into the Apollo, are getting the same level and everything just like they should. In fact, let's try phase cancel, see how close these are. Okay, so we know the null test that is doing its job. Those are extremely similar. So now the Cloudlifter is giving us nothing. We need to turn on phantom power. So phantom power is creeping up. We've got a really similar level. And like they say on the Cloudlifter, it's around 25 dB because impedance is a factor. So let's just listen to each one really quick. This is the normal. This is the Cloudlifter. Sounds really similar. This is the other normal. Now we're going to turn this to record enable, so we'll be processing whatever is on here. And again, 65 dB is what we're set to on Apollo's gain, which is the absolute max it goes. So I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to use the regular channel strip, precision channel that comes with this. And we're going to use some makeup gain from that. Actually, we'll just do 20. We'll roll all the way down to 40. And since we cut it 25 dB, we're going to give it 25 dB, which is along the lines of what we're supposed to be able to give it from the Cloudlifter. And I'm just boosting the EQ side 15, and I'm going to boost about 10 on the dynamic side. And together, that'll give us right about 25 dB. And as you can see, our level is really similar across all those again. The Cloudlifter has just a slight advantage, so I'm just going to duck it a dB. Okay, so now we're going to switch to Pro Tools, and I'm just going to create some new tracks. I'm going to create 3. I'm going to set their correct inputs, and it's going to be simple because it's just going to be 1, 2, 3. Name these. Okay, ready to go. Can record enable. Check, check, check. Everything's looking good there. All right. And I'm just going to chat here for a second. Checking into the microphone. This is the SM7 into Apollo. Each channel is an Apollo preamp. And this is using a special splitter. 1 is no processing, 2 is Cloudlifter, and 3 is digital processing. Again, all 3 directly to Apollo preamps. Okay, now let's check that out. I'm going to just change my solo preference so that it does cancel, so we can easily compare these. Here's number 1. 1 is no processing. 1 is no processing. 1 is no processing. Okay, so now, because these are still a little low recording-wise, because we wanted to maximize the gain and just see what we got, I'm going to turn all of these up louder than they should be, just so we can kind of hear how much noise may or may not be in each track. 1 is no processing. Let's listen to the end. Oops. Not bad. Oops. Oops. 1 is no processing. 2 is Cloudlifter. 1 is no processing. 2 is Cloudlifter. 1 is no processing. 2 is Cloudlifter. They all sound really similar, as they should. And we can null test these if we wanted, but it's not a big deal. The whole point of this is whether the Cloudlifter is really necessary. So now let's switch this guy in console. And we're going to use a unison preamp instead. So I just disabled that channel. It's no longer part of the equation. And I'm turning off the record print because there's no reason for us to use that because unison always prints. So now I'm just going to grab the Neve channel. Preamp only. Okay, so now we're just going to turn up that gain. We're going to crank it up to the approximation of its 80 dB, even though it'll really only be around 60. Check, check. And as you can see, it's just a little quieter, as we expected. And we're going to creep up our makeup gain here. Check, 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 check. We can creep that down, maybe 70, and max our output gain. Check, check, which again will reduce our noise. And as you can see, we're really, really similar. So now, with the supposed 70 dB of gain, we're going to go back to Pro Tools. I'm just going to drop a marker, call it unison version, and we're going to record that for a second. So this is the SM7. On first channel, it is raw SM7. Second channel is Cloudlifter. Third channel is the 70 dB gain setting on Apollo using the Neve unison preamp, and then using the output makeup gain. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. There you go. All, again, fairly comparable. And let's hear them. On first channel, it is raw SM7. Second channel is Cloudlifter. On first channel, it is raw SM7. Second channel is Cloudlifter. On first channel, it is raw SM7. Second channel is Cloudlifter. So I think based on this, in a lot of situations, there may not be a need for a Cloudlifter. But let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts on this. Okay, so last step here, I'm going to move the microphone back and we're just going to go for broke. So SM7 is pretty far back. We're going to go maximum gain on the Cloudlifter channel. And if I talk loudly, this will clip, as you can see. If I talk normally, it doesn't clip. And let's get the same thing going on UA. So I'm going to turn that commit back on. I'm going to pull up my channel strip. And again, even though these are active, nothing is happening. I've got my threshold set at 0, so there's no compression happening at all. So now we're just going to creep the gain up here to match the Cloudlifter. Check, check. It's probably a little hot. Check, 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 somewhere around there. Flip back over to Pro Tools, maximum gain mode here. And I'm going to talk quietly just so we can get it. Okay, this is maximum gain mode. Channel 1 is the raw SM7. Channel 2 is the Cloudlifter. Channel 3 is the digital only gain on the Unison Neve preamp. And we are just approximating the maximum gain, which is around 90 dB. And that looks clipped, but that's because I'm slightly zoomed in here. So these are not clipped. And let's just hear what difference it is. Obviously, this is going to be louder than we're used to, especially on the second and third channels. Hey, this is maximum. Hey, this is maximum. Hey, this is maximum gain. And let's check out our noise. If we zoom in here, noise actually looks pretty comparable. So what I will say is the Cloudlifter, actually really quiet device as far as noise goes. It specs really similarly to digital, which is kind of surprising. So, Cloudlifter, necessary or unnecessary? Hopefully this video lets you make that decision. Anyway, smash the like button, please. Please subscribe, because that helps me do videos like this. And of course, please leave me a comment if you feel like there's something I didn't do correctly or something you want to see in an upcoming video. Again, as always, thanks for watching. Matt Hepworth. See you next time.